Well, happy Tuesday, everybody. This is Rob with Maverick Currencies. Nice to see you here. Let's break down exactly what happened today. Today, outside of cryptos, was a really boring day. So if we take a look at the news, especially in the FX world, it was quiet. And what I mean by quiet, it was low volatility. And there was at one point, the only decent trade was like pound dollar, euro dollar. They were up about 0.5% at one point, and then they closed up about 0.3%. Those are just not that big of moves. We did get two news announcements. Canadian CPI was below expectations. The CAD actually went down on that news a little bit, and we saw the cryptos bounce back quite nicely from an overnight sell-off, and that's really where the action has been. As you can see, the stock market did nothing today. Both the SPX, the US markets, and the VT, the world markets, they did nothing. They were very flat. Even take a look at gold and oil. They were slightly positive today. The only thing really working today was crypto, and that is our crypto basket. And frankly, about 80% of that was what Bitcoin did today. So Bitcoin dragged the whole crypto basket up. Outside of Bitcoin, there just really wasn't a lot going on today. Now that does not surprise us. We talked over the weekend about how the S&P was reaching this major resistance point, and we'd spent a lot of energy to get up to this point. We said we didn't think equities were going to break out for at least a week or two. We need to consolidate here, build some energy before we even try to move any higher. There's nothing really out there on the horizon that is likely to make this market go lower that we know of right now. If we got what's called an unknown, where something that no one expected happens, sure, it can always push us down. But at this point, the market has fought through a lot of bad news, and now things are actually starting to look a little bit better. Coming over here to the VT, we're at the same place. We're right up against that resistance point that we hit in late January, early February. We expect the markets to just hang out here until it can gather enough strength to break higher. The only thing moving at the moment here is the cryptos, and this here is the crypto basket. Bitcoin is the majority of this move today, but you can see once we had a breakout, and we called this breakout in cryptos really about 2 weeks ago, saying, hey, it's bubbling, it's getting ready to break out. Get ready for it. When it breaks out, it's going to have a run. Crypto is still having its run. So today you can see Bitcoin was the big winner here, up 3.14%. But take a look at Litecoin. Now, one of the things I'm going to be pointing out when we take a look at individual trade possibilities, there has been massive outperformance from Bitcoin and Ethereum compared to the rest of the cryptos. Now, all of these cryptos are highly correlated, meaning they all go up and down together. So when one goes up 20% and the other one goes up 5%, there's an opportunity here for what's called a pairs trade. Now, we're not going to pairs trade it, but we're going to talk about what happens is there's a concept called reversion to the mean. If two things are highly correlated and they become uncorrelated, which is what has happened. Bitcoin's gone up 20%. Things like Bitcoin Cash and Litecoin have gone up about 5%. Either Bitcoin and Ethereum have to come down, or Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash have to catch up. Now look, they don't have to. Nothing has to do anything. But that is how you do pairs trading. You look at things and say, hey, these are usually highly correlated. They become uncorrelated. Let's play it that way. I would not be surprised at all if you start to see a little bit of outperformance from Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash compared to Bitcoin and Ethereum. We'll take a look at that on the charts here in just a second. Over here in the world of Forex, these are not great numbers. Remember, on a good day of trading, we usually see something go up or down 0.5% to 1%. You can see here, nothing went on. US and Canadian dollar went down. This is actually bad news for the CAD and the fact that we were hoping that the CAD would come uncorrelated from the dollar. As you can see, that did not happen this week. I actually do like CAD for a short here for the rest of this week. To wrap this all up and put this all in a package, we are still at this +2 outlook on risk on sentiment. We're not wildly bullish, but the markets are pretty bullish right here at the moment. Let's look and see what we've got on the rest of the week for the calendar. Tomorrow night, we have a CPI out of New Zealand. And early in the morning tonight, we've got the CPI out of the UK. And we've got the CPI out of New Zealand tomorrow evening. Look, I think of either of these two, that CPI out of New Zealand is the more important one. The RBNZ surprised the market with a 50 basis point hike last week, but remember, the Kiwi didn't go up because basically everyone thought that's all that's going to happen. If this number comes out a lot stronger than expected, that has to be rethought. Look, I don't think it's going to come out much stronger than expected, but if it does, I think that's a decent shot for Kiwi on the long side. Nothing on Thursday of any importance. Friday, we've got European manufacturing. Really not all that important. As you can see, I don't love this week. We don't have good price action at the moment. We don't have anything on the news that's likely to change things or cause people to have to switch positions and make different decisions. We are probably going to go through the rest of this week as not a good trading week. And so, I'm going to say to all of our traders, trade less, not more in weeks like this. This is where a new trader, an inexperienced trader, can go out there, click buttons, enter breakouts, enter breakdowns, and they fizzle. They all fizzle. And that's what happens. When there's no energy behind the market, all breakouts, breakdowns, whatever your setups are, they all fizzle out. There's no pushing power behind them because there is no energy to the market. So again, we're going to trade less, not more. But let's go see what are some of the very few possibilities for trades for the rest of this week. Let's start off with the best performer of the day. This is Bitcoin. And look, we had this nice call on Bitcoin breakout above 29,000. We ran up and then we had a little bit of a pullback. We came back to this moving average. We bounced off it, came up to a new high. We looked like we're going to base there. And then we had this bigger, deeper pullback and we bounced at 29,000. So we had a nice bounce. So here's the question. Do we have enough energy to break out above this next high? Now look, I'm going to go ahead and say, no, I don't think we do. I don't think we do. Take a look at all the energy that the market has expended, the S&P, the market, everything. All the markets are at these points where they're looking just maybe a little tired and a little stretched. I think that there is a decent opportunity from here up to 30,800. That's just not enough meat on the bone for me to jump at. So look, I still like Bitcoin. I still think it's going higher. But the question is this the best trade right here, right now? It was clearly the best trade over the last couple of days and the last week or two. But let's take a look at some of the other things here. Let's see if we can find something that actually has a little bit of room to move. Here is Bitcoin Cash. We had a run, pull back, run, pull back, run. We pulled back. We did not make a new high. Okay, so here we are, Bitcoin Cash. I'm going to call this sideways. I'm going to say this is in a really nice sideways channel at the moment. Nothing great, 131 to 135. Look, if you want to trade it, I would try to get it as close to 131 as you possibly can. And I think once it gets up to the 134 and above, you want to be looking to take your profits. If that fits within what you do as a trader, that's great. If not, let's see if there's something better. Here is Ethereum. Now, Ethereum is a little bit different. Ethereum is a little different than Bitcoin in the fact that Bitcoin made a new swing high. Ethereum did not. I really like this. So if we think that cryptos are likely to stay strong, you can see that this one's putting in a lot of basing here, building energy. And if we go in and say, hey, let's compare this to Bitcoin. So I'm going to just compare this to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is this orange line here. You could see that Ethereum outperformed it quite a bit. And this is why we're lagging here. Remember, I talked about how these things are all correlated. Ethereum wildly outperformed Bitcoin here on April 23rd. And since then, you can see if we go to April 23rd, since then, they've really performed about the same. So I think if you're taking a look at these, okay, where is the energy building? I think Bitcoin is expending energy at the moment and is probably running out of energy. Ethereum is starting to build energy a little bit. Let's check Litecoin. Let's check and see how Litecoin is done compared to Bitcoin. And you can see over the last, let's see, this is a 4-hour chart for about the last 4 days. It's actually outperformed. And when we take a look at this on a 4-hour chart, you can see that this is the best looking chart. Litecoin is the best looking chart at the moment. We just made a new swing high. We pull back. We're making a bounce here. I'm not saying there's a ton of upside here, but if we take a look at where is the target here, let me get rid of this Bitcoin here. 104, 105 on Litecoin. So I like the risk reward on Litecoin best. So over the next 24 to 48 hours, my favorite trade in the crypto space is Litecoin for sure. Let's jump into Forex. As I said earlier, I'm not super excited about it. Here's the dollar. You can see why I'm not excited about it. This is the last 16 hours. There has been no price movement. A couple little wicks up and down, but that just made everyone jump in or jump out or knock out stops. I am not interested in trading this kind of price action at all. No, thank you. As a younger trader, I would have tried to force my way. Look, the market can't be forced. It's going to do what it's going to do. Here is the yen. Now, I really like the yen on a chart. We have just had a breakdown, made a new swing low. We've rallied back up for about 16 hours. We're starting to possibly turn back over. Look, it's way too early here. We're in the Asian session. I'm not excited to go short right here, but at this point, the yen is on my possible list for a short over the next 24 to 48 hours. Dollar is not. I've just totally taken the dollar off the shelf. Not looking to trade it at all. Take a look at Euro. As you can see here, Euro is not doing anything that we want to see. So look at this. Over the last day and a half, we've moved almost nowhere. There is nothing telling us that this is about to break out. RSI is flattened. EMA is flattened. Everything's just flattened. So I still like it long, but it's just not on my radar here for the next 24 to 48 hours. Here's Swiss franc, and we can basically say the same thing about the Swiss franc. It was really strong, but now it's just hanging out. Okay. Look, I don't mind people buying stocks at the bottom of bases. I don't mind people buying currencies at the bottom of bases. Okay, this is an okay trade. It's pulled back. It's likely to go back up to the top of the trade. If one of you says, I want to take a shot at a Swiss franc trade, maybe against the yen, look, it's not a great trade. It's a decent trade. We'll take a look at that one specifically. The pound was on the top of my list. The top of my list at the first of the week. And you can see it just hasn't done it. I really like this pullback we had last week. And that pullback, I said, hey, you want to buy the bounce on this pullback in the pound. And you can see it's just fizzled. It's just really fizzled. I don't see any reason at all to get super excited. Now look, it looks better than the euro. It doesn't look as good as the Swiss franc. So we're going to put it maybe as the second best currency out there. It's okay. I mean, at least the EMA is sloping upward. We got that. We got parabolic SAR. So we do have something to say that there's probably a little bit more bullishness than anything else in it, but it doesn't mean it's a great trade. Remember, you don't have to click the button. You can sit and wait. Here is the CAD. Now I want to go out to a little bit longer term chart here on the CAD because we really talked about this being at a major resistance level. And we talked about if it could poke its head up above this resistance, we had a lot of room to run. And you can see that as far as 2 days into this week, both days have been pretty definitively down. Now look, we're not crashing. The ME is still moving up. Everything's still moderately bullish here, but on the short term, there's nothing here to like about CAD. Maybe we pull back a little bit more. Maybe it gets a little interesting, but for the most part, I'm not interested in this one either. Here's the Aussie. Aussie on a 4-hour chart. It looks okay. We've got rising EMAs. We got a nice little pullback from a new swing high. Okay. If one of my traders said, Rob, I'm going to take a shot at Aussie here. Okay, I try to talk him out of it. I'm not saying it's a bad trade. I'm saying it's a bad market environment. The chart setup is fine, but you don't want to do good chart setups in low volume, low volatility environments because they tend not to go anywhere. They tend to fizzle out. What you want to get is good chart patterns in really good trending markets. That's where you get your great trades. So Aussie is okay. Kiwi is nothing. Everything's flattened out on Kiwi. I am totally disinterested in the Kiwi. So let's take a look at how everything stacks up here. Our most bullish thing we're looking at is Bitcoin here. I think it's got a little bit more upside. I actually like Litecoin a little bit better here. So I'm going to be taking a look more at Litecoin because on a shorter term 4-hour chart, the chart just looks better. And if I'm looking to do something that's fairly short term, maybe 12 to 48 hours, those are the time frames I'm looking at. Euro, pound, and Aussie, okay, sure, they can all be bought. They don't have to be bought. They don't have to be. It's not a great trade here. It's just not a good setup. And if you're looking to what to buy them against, well, it's the yen, friends. It's the yen. So Aussie yen, pound yen, euro yen. And I also like the Swiss franc at the bottom of the low base, so maybe even Swiss franc yen. Let's start out with that Swiss franc yen. Because look, this was my favorite as far as if I had to make a trade right here, right now. So here we have Swiss franc yen, and you can see Swiss franc yen, we've been in this pretty tight high base here for a while. We've been trading between, let's call it, 149.40 up to 150. It's really been the range here. We're at the bottom of the range. Look, I don't love this kind of trading. I like trending trading. This is more range-bound trading. It's at the bottom of the range. Here's the nice thing, though. Sometimes if you do these kind of trades, you can buy them at the bottom of the range, and then when they get to the top of the range, they don't stop, and they break out. And you just have a fantastic cost basis. It's a very comfortable trade. You're there when the breakout happens. You are already profitable. It's very nice. So I don't mind this trade at all here. So the trade would be to basically enter here. We've had a pullback. We've got a confirmation candle. It would be to enter the trade here at 149.55. And look, if you want to use a limit order to sell, I'd say sell half at 150. I don't use limit orders. I use trailing stops, meaning if it gets to 150, I'm pretty happy about it, and it could easily break up to 151, 152. I want to be in there for that move. I put money at risk. I want to be in there when it gets good. I don't just want to jump out when it gets to a point where it could stop. That being said, I don't think it's a great trade. It's not a great trade. So if you only want to make great trades, turn off your system and come back tomorrow. Because right now, there is nothing going on whatsoever. This is the best trade I can think of is Swiss franc yen. I'm not going to look through any others because I don't want to give you any ideas to stretch yourself. Just wait for a day. Let's come back and see if there's anything better tomorrow. To wrap this up, we got equities going nowhere. We got FX looking like it's a low volatile week. Cryptos are really the only thing, and my favorite one is Litecoin over the next 12 to 48 hours. Thank you for joining me. That is the currency recap, everybody. Goodbye.